boys were called edgy. Told they'd never make it past 5 episodes. Here those podcast jerks are. Back for season 2. The Boys in the Woods podcast. The show your mother warned you about and that your dad was hiding in the basement listening to. Get ready for the Boys in the Woods podcast.
It's crazy that's Barney.
It's crazy that's Barney. Yeah, that's the new Barney. Yeah. Corey. Shout out Corey.
I love that, dude.
Welcome back, boys. Welcome back. Part 2, round 2.
Yeah.
The
Round
NFL
2
top 10s.
ends up being one of the most interesting. We'll jump into this. We'll jump into this momentarily. First off, NFL Combines wrapped up.
Yes.
Let's go around the table real quick, and each of you, even if it's the same thing, what was your off your mind biggest takeaway from the Combine?
Texas breeds fast fucking receivers. 4.2 140 is
fastest of all time.
Yeah, and he's faster than Usain Bolt. Like, he's faster than the fastest dude on the planet. That's insane.
Xavier Worthy.
It's
crazy.
Yeah, Xavier Worthy. And he just worked himself into the first round easily.
First round, definitely.
Yeah.
And
Paul, what
he's
was
going to be
your takeaway?
crazy. I'm like, for me, it's Xavier Worthy. And then just the fact that UT showed their ass this weekend in the best of ways. And I'm like, it's showing that the program itself, it's building up players to be able to get drafted in the first 2 to 3 rounds, like solid. And it's showing what our season is going to do. And then especially not going into the SEC next year is really going to show what kind of coach he is and what kind of he can actually bring into the league next year. And I'm excited. I'm excited for UT what they showed out in the Combine, and 4.21, like that's fast.
It's crazy fast. Patrick, what about you?
Like he said, I'll touch on that one too. Speed kills, and then also the amount of receivers that freaking showed out. There was a lot of they gave a lot of 85, 90 grades to receivers this year, which is unheard of.
Wide receiver, you're going to be getting late first round wide receivers in the late second round, and you're going to be getting second round wide receivers.
Oh, and shout
A
out
lot
to
of
Blake
receivers are going to
Corum.
show up stolen.
Bro.
Shout out to Blake Corum doing 27 reps at 225, saying he could have did 35, but he didn't want to show everybody up.
Jesus,
He should have
as
did
a
it.
running back.
That's a running back.
Insanity.
Five,
We also
5'8"
had a
running back.
35,
We gotta
5 vertical.
We got to shout out Nate Wiggins too, cornerback, who ran a 4.29 or 4.28 40. Like,
What are they feeding these kids?
That's crazy.
as a cornerback, that's
How long do you think Mike McDaniels had wet dreams about this Combine? Do you think they're still happening right now?
He's
I was
still
about to say,
dreaming about it right now.
I think the hotel, he had to go out and buy some puppy pads for himself.
That's crazy. The
they're
amount
gonna
of
get the blue
smile he
light
had on. Hashtag best dressed coach at the Combine. I think my biggest takeaway would be the youngest McCaffrey brother beating his brother on the official dash time. Younger brother gets bragging rights for eternity. You
He
can't
gets the
go back
turkey
and
leg
change
this year.
that Combine.
Listen, you get all the accolades you want, but the one thing you will never say is you're faster than me.
So
You know
wide
what's-
receiver.
What's crazy is he only started playing wide receiver this year. He was a quarterback.
Yeah. Wide receiver out of Rice, another school in Texas. So well done, Texas. I agree. I think one of the biggest takeaways. I thought I was going to go in talking about Michigan, and as a Michigan fan, I'm sitting here going, "Well done, Texas."
Texas
Well
is
done,
a football
Texas.
country.
Let's not discount Michigan. Y'all had 18 prospects at the Combine. That's
they said
fucking
every one of them.
insane.
Every one of them offensive linemen, they said, was 2 to 3 years above everybody else that was there. They should be. They're all seniors.
It's
But
gonna be a
massive. We gotta-
crazy.
wide receivers and offensive tackles. I think the league is about to get what it's been for
What position they
a
weren't
really long
talking about a
time.
lot?
Running backs?
Like,
Quarterbacks.
I didn't see a lot of quarterbacks being talked
no,
about this.
there was
combine.
this class of quarterback like.
Does JJ McCarthy look like he belonged in the NFL?
Now, let me ask you this again. This goes back to the whole question I had about last week about the combine. Granted, he looked good. However, there was nobody else that was top tier prospects to compare him to as far as
And the
Caleb
game
Williams
tape
and
doesn't
that.
lie.
So I don't know. I think pro days is probably where we're going to get more solidified answer of where these players are going to land in the first 2 to 3 rounds. The combine definitely allowed some of the known players to show out and put their talents and their skills out there for the world to see, and definitely lift up their stocks. Because I'm like, again, some of the big names didn't go, regardless of the position. So that put the shine on the other positions to show out, and they showed out.
Yeah. I always favor watching the defensive combine just because I like defense better than I like offense. And what's that dude from Florida State? Braden Fisk showed his ass. A sub 540. I think it was like a 4.79 or a 4.89 40 for a guy who's 255 whatever pounds.
It's always fun to see the big guys run and get those high 40s. Like, because watching those big guys being able to move, it's this man's almost 300 pounds and he's almost running like a 4.8, 4.9. He's gonna come after you.
I was watching the offensive tackles today and watching them run like 4.96 to 5.10. I'm like, man.
Joe Alt is 6. What is he? 6? Almost 6'9".
Is he 6'9"?
Yeah, he's 6. He's 6'8 and 5/8 or something is what he was measured at.
Gigantic of a man.
That motherfucker ran a 40 in 5.07. That's nuts.
That's pretty good for a big guy. That's pretty good for a big man.
Some of these guys are getting stupid athletic, and it's
not that you should take this in any kind of way because we are dealing with the internet, so there's some really special people out there. But if you look at pictures of some of the new crop of the new generation coming into college football, we'll say, they look like 21, 22-year-old men, and they're 17 to 19-year-old kids.
They're huge.
It's crazy to me. Absolutely insane. And talking about absolutely insane, segue here. Congratulations, Caitlin Clark. Well done. Finally passing Pistol Pete, who didn't need a 3-point or as much playing time to accomplish this goal. But again, well done. Well done. Well done.
Just had to slide that in there, didn't you?
I'm just saying, if there was a 3-point line when Pistol Pete was playing, the dude would have averaged 52 points a game.
Probably.
If there was also
let's also look at the level of competition we're talking about. Like the girls that Caitlin Clark is playing against are 9 million times better than the men that Pistol Pete was
brings me to a quick question too. Name 3 college basketball players off the top of your head. They could be the same 3. Just go.
Current ones?
Yeah.
Current?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say LeBron, Steph, because those are like the top 3 guys. But I could go on.
I'm sorry. Did I say NBA players? I meant college. I meant college.
In female or male?
Just college players. Both.
Period.
Like
right now, I can give
right now. Yeah, just right now. Don't think about it. Just the first.
Caitlin Clark, Sabrina whatever her name is, Lonskew, and then who's the Angela Reese from LSU? Or is she in the WNBA already?
Sabrina Ionescu is in the WNBA already.
But Reese is in LSU.
Just say it's difficult.
So it's difficult. But what's crazy is y'all stuck with college women's.
Which college women's basketball is more important. It's
way better right now than men's college basketball.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
it's way better than men's college basketball.
Here's my issue too when it comes to the college basketball sports world. When it comes to the guys and the girls. One,
I love you guys. I don't want to put you on the spot like that, but I love you.
No, you're good.
No, but it's night and day when it comes to the electric and the entertainment part of women's college basketball and men's college basketball.
Yeah,
it is night and day. And the crazy thing is, I never understood this. In women's, if for females, you have to stay in 4 years and graduate before you can declare yourself for the WNBA draft. In the NBA, all you need is one college year or 1 year professional. You can go overseas for 1 year, and then you can draft next year. Yeah. One, I think that you all around it should be 3 years or less when it comes to like major sports. Just because, again, some of these one and dones in the NBA turn out to be complete trash.
Yeah,
garbage.
Absolutely.
Do nothing for the sport. But the women's, they be so up here in college, and then I understand that they don't get paid as much. I get the dynamics of the whole WNBA situation, but it's like you're making $3, sometimes $5 million as a college player in women's basketball to going making $500,000.
No,
I'm just saying it's just
yeah.
I'm just saying the disparities between the two. Yeah. No woman, no girl want to leave college sports getting paid millions of dollars to get paid 1/8 of what they're getting in college. Right.
Yeah, especially
we should do a deep dive into the women's softball. I think that's something that needs to get a little more recognition. Also, it would be nice to see these
women's hockey too, because women's hockey is badass.
Yeah,
women's.
And I'm not even a hockey, bro. I'm not even a hockey fan like that, but women's hockey is crazy during the Olympics. Those crazy women just beat the shit out of each other.
It's not like it was
just in general
20 years ago. Yeah. It's super competitive. It's electric. That game against Ohio State today was nice. So.
It was a beatdown.
Yeah.
I will say this about the WNBA. The problem with the WNBA is that the WNBA is not its own league. It is subsidized by the NBA. So essentially, while the WNBA has never, not one season in existence, it's never turned a profit. I understand what the women are saying about pay us more. But you have to generate more income. The problem is the NBA, you generate $60 billion in the NBA, right? Yeah. The WNBA generates maybe $100 million. That's a huge disparity.
How do you help the WNBA make more money? What is it? Because I'm tired of hearing lower rims, move the 3-point line. I don't want that.
Here's the problem. The problem is
earlier coverage on players like Caitlin Clark. Which I think Caitlin Clark is going to bring a new fan base into the WNBA.
We thought that was going to happen too a long time ago, but it didn't.
I think
when Brittany Griner
came
in.
Now, though, I think maybe that was the right thing, wrong time. Maybe this is now the right time, right thing.
I think too there is some legitimacy to the add more excitement to the game. I'm not telling you, look, you already use a smaller ball. You already shoot your 3-pointers closer in. Lower the rim a tiny bit. Bring some dunks.
But that throws everything off, though, bro. Like,
I understand. I get it.
Yeah.
But I get it. But then tell me another way to make the game more appealing, because the problem
trampolines,
is slam ball.
I also think that the times that they be displaying the games, that they be game is like the most idiotic random times, like especially like with the WNBA finals last year. Most of those games were played either at 2-3 in the afternoon or on a competition with something else that's going on at like prime time. So it's not bringing in the eyes because they're having to compete with something that's already going to get my ball or nobody's going to watch because it's in the middle of the day. Who's watching a WNBA finals on a Tuesday afternoon at 2 in the afternoon? Nobody.
Honestly, I'm shocked to see that there was finals on a Tuesday at 2 in the afternoon. It kind of blew my mind.
The other thing too is we lost Paul. The other thing too is that these teams are not doing, like, you're putting these women in arenas that they cannot fill. They're not filling. So why not scale down just a little bit for the WNBA, put them in smaller arenas for a little bit, let them sell out, let the environment get crazy, build up that anticipation, and then when you can start filling the smaller stadiums, then you start making arenas. But don't put the fucking, when the San Antonio still had our women's team here, they were playing in the AT&T Center, the Spurs building. No women's team is gonna fill a full NBA stadium. It's not gonna happen. So you gotta look at.
Go ahead.
I just think you have to look at different things and say, all right, look, we can't sell out a 16,000 seat stadium. So let's go
I hear
to
you.
something that's half of that. Let's
Yeah.
focus, instead of having to market to 16,000 people, we cut our marketing budget in half. And now we can focus on making the experience better. It's what Jerry Buss did for the Lakers in the 80s. Because if you remember, the Lakers before Jerry Buss, they were garbage, trash. The Celtics were running the league.
I was born in the late 80s. So I don't
This
remember
might come
much
off
before
as
that.
being sexist, but I think we can all agree on this, is that they're going to market more to women, and women
Well,
just aren't into sports as much as men.
I agree
I
with
think
And
you.
that's
that
just
hurts
really
too.
what it comes
Yeah.
down to.
I agree with you absolutely. It ultimately, I think it ultimately boils down to their marketing. I think
Yeah.
they need to catch this younger talent early, and they have started over the last couple of years, such as Angela Reese, Cam Beckers. Gosh,
Market your superstars
even
better.
Dawn Staley there for.
I'm like, she
she's
is like a
doing-
golden gem to just market on. Dawn Staley,
Absolutely.
Like, she is like doing
I
just.
want to see more pieces on her.
Did you
She's
see the
done and what she's
Ionesca?
doing.
Did you see the Ionesca thing, the meme, or where she's wearing like a really beautiful outfit? And people are like, "Y'all think we just dress like hobos outside of freaking
Yeah,
I
basketball?"
honestly
or what?
think. I
And these
honestly
dudes are
think.
drooling.
Like,
I think they had
I
a
don't think people
calendar.
realize that not
Yeah.
all female
should.
basketball players are gay. I don't understand what
Oh,
Yeah,
this
no.
this stigma is that
Oh,
they
this
play
stigma?
basketball, they like
Well,
girls. No,
it's like
they like
BS.
boys too.
We'll have
And
to
there's
have
some-
to deep dive into these stigmas. Or go ahead, Mike.
No, and there's some very attractive. What's her name? Kelsey Plum.
Kelsey
Yeah.
Plum.
Yeah.
She's very
She's married
attractive.
to what's his name, Waller of the tight end
Darren
for
Waller.
the Giants.
Yeah, the
Darren
tight
Waller.
end for the
Darren,
Giants.
that's
yeah.
her husband. And I'm like, just because they play
Who,
better
by the
ball
way,
than
was-
you doesn't mean that they get the same
Was
sex.
the number one women's scorer by? I think she was the number
She
one.
was before
Breonna
Caitlin
Stewart.
this year.
Well, yeah,
That's-
before
and-
Caitlin Clark, yeah.
And that's what I'm talking about when it comes to the marketing. If they were following Kelsey's story like they followed Caitlin's, more people at that time would have followed into the WNBA. There would have been a more
And
firm
who knows what it would have
foundation.
been.
So it's exciting to see, just as exciting as it is to finally break in to a round 2 of our top 10 list. We jumped on the defense. So we're gonna let the listeners know here a few things real quick before the list start off. One, what the frank? People who get paid to do this probably don't get paid enough to do this. Because the lists are half-ass, all of them that we find online. And I understand why the lists are half-ass that we find online. Because unless you're fucking gambling, there is almost no definitive way to define a specific defensive player where they play as a continuum, due to the fact that most of the elite players are flipping and flopping in defensive positions.
Yeah,
How did it go
I found
for
out
y'all?
that sports cards lied to me because I had to look up a bunch of players off their sports cards to see what position they played, and they're wrong. They're wrong.
Like the amount of headache that I received from creating this concoction of a list.
You got a headache. You should have seen the argument that we had before you came in here. My head was gonna explode.
I told you earlier, Char, the people that do, like you said, the people that do this on a week in and week out basis, like constantly changing and updating these lists, like this is your job. Yeah. I have so much respect for you because at the end, I have only done this for a couple of days, and I want to punch every computer screen that I see from here on out for about a week.
Yeah. Are we no longer pissed off at Mel Kiper Jr.?
Fuck no, he can still suck ass. He can still suck ass.
All right, so he's terrible.
Sorry,
is probably the
my wife
worst
just
person.
My wife just handed me a shot of banana cream pie moonshine. I'm gonna get a little drunker right now.
Nice.
Oh, it's
allegedly.
about to get a good show.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. I feel
Allegedly.
like between him and Tom
I'm over
McShay,
21.
they make my asshole itch.
Yeah.
When it
I
comes
did
to
hear
the way
somebody
they project
say
players.
that they thought teams would be better off if they didn't do their own research and took the collective of the experts.
I saw
Mock
that report
drafts.
the other day. I heard somebody say that some of their scouting people don't actually listen to the scouting reports or go. They base it off of what they hear either on the combine or a few days before the draft, and that's how they decide who they're going to draft for that year. I'm like, that is about as ass backwards as it can get.
Okay, so hear me out though.
It's all about who you trust.
If we're
and who
looking
you
for
leave, though.
success, we have March Madness coming up soon, and we're all about brackets. I believe we're all going to be doing a bracket. Check socials for more info on that, listeners. But so how many people get a bracket right each year?
All the way through?
Yeah,
None.
all the way through.
Sometimes it can last up till maybe like the Sweet 16, the Elite 8, but after that, it starts to just fall apart.
So when it happens, it's memorable. You know, the one that comes to my mind is the lady who picked based off of the color of the uniforms.
Yeah.
So my point of this is maybe those people who are in the front offices were like, yo, that chick won the bracket challenge when everyone else was doing all this science shit. We're going to win our draft without this science shit also. They only got to win once. The Jets have done it.
Who looks better in the jerseys? That's who I'm going to pick to win. That's about as dumb as it. That's how dumb it sounds.
I promise you.
What's the mascot?
I
What's
hear
the
that,
mascot?
but I mean,
A peacock.
a peacock.
Fuck yeah.
A peacock.
I want that one.
I want that one. Listen, the Jets bought their only Super Bowl, and the football gods have cursed them ever since. Let's be honest. The Jets were a terrible team in the third Super Bowl. Was it the third or fourth Super Bowl there? They were a terrible team. The Indianapolis Colts should have kicked their ass.
God
the
has
only
to
fix-
be.
That one Super Bowl got Jameis to the Hall of Fame.
And then he got drunk every day after that. And then he got on TV.
Walking around with a fur coat jacket
better?
everywhere he goes.
Who's better, Woody or Joe?
Jackass. That's what he was.
Who's better, Woody or Joe? Who do you want to have dinner with more, Woody or Joe?
I don't want to. I think Woody would be annoying as shit to go out to dinner with. I think Joe would have been more of a fun time. Honestly.
I think Woody pays for it. Joe doesn't.
Oh, of course not. But
Well, that's okay, but I can get Joe drunk enough where I take his credit card and I pay for
He's not gonna
everything
know the
anyway.
wiser.
Listen,
By the time
if
he
you
figures
take
it
his
out, you're halfway across the country.
you take his
Yeah.
credit card, the moment it's anything other than alcohol, it's gonna get flagged for fraudulent purchases.
wait, there's food. There's food on this receipt. This doesn't make sense.
JK, Jets, you suck. That's all there is to it. There's no curse. Golly.
They are the
There's no
curse.
weird.
Do have a couple of names on these lists somewhere, at least on mine. And we'll jump right into it. We're going to jump right into it. Okay, here we go. I've got the 4 lists in front of me. Okay, so I'm going to lift my fingers slowly. I lifted them all at the same time. That sucks. Okay, quarterback. We're going to do We're going to do cornerbacks first. We're going to do cornerbacks first. And we're just going to jump into this. We're just going to do it. We're just going to do it. All right? We're just going to do it. We're just going to do it. Okay, 15 through 10, because that's right. I started this out.
You're still doing
Time
this?
for that
Couldn't
shit,
fucking do
Charles.
it again. And the middle linebackers almost received the first fucking no-go. But here we go. 15 through 11, Sean Murphy. Bonting, just because I really liked his name. Number 15, it could have been a multitude of players, but Sean Murphy Bonting comes in, plays for the Titans. Marlon Humphrey, Baltimore, 14. Xavier Howard, Miami, 13. Denzel Ward, Cleveland, 12. James Bradbury, 11. Philadelphia. Your face?
Why would you put James Bradbury on any list ever? That dude is cooked dog shit.
Listen, there's a method to my madness. He's
Okay.
in the honorable mention. Maybe I did it for you. But
I
anyways,
appreciate that.
10 through 6. Here we go. Devon Witherspoon, Seattle. Trevon Diggs, Dallas. Deron Bland, Dallas. That's 8. L'Jarius Sneed, 7. Kansas City. Charvarius Ward, 6. San Francisco. 10 through 6 had a lot to do with injuries and continued injuries. 5 through 1, Jair Alexander, Jalen Ramsey, Patrick Surtain, 2, Darius Slay, and Sauce Gardner.
Wow, you left the best one off the list.
I may have. Who do you think?
I can't tell you. He's in my number 1.
I can
I
tell
mean, he
you,
only led the league. He only led the league in picks last year.
you should have left Darius Slay off that list.
Deron Bland?
Ron Bland fucking balled the fuck out this year for Dallas, dude. He led the league in touchdowns, deflections, passes deflected. You didn't have him on there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude.
he did.
Yeah.
Yeah. How does that feel, bitch?
How does that feel? How does that feel? Maybe he should tackle more. Okay, listen. He had old boy on the other side of the field. A majority of his interceptions came before that dude got hurt. All right. Without him, he has maybe three at best. But that's my list.
Doesn't matter. It happened.
Oh, well,
Number 8.
Should took him off.
Should have took him off. If you're gonna put him at 8, you might as well have just taken him off.
Just take him off.
Yeah. How's that feel, CD Lamb number 7? How's that feel? I had no intention of that. I personally think that, listen, that's great that he caught 9 interceptions. That's super fantastic. All right. But he doesn't tackle a lot, and he's a small dude. I think he passes away from the tackle.
You don't need to tackle a lot when you're picking the ball off.
That's true.
And that's what gets you number 8 on my list. All right, moving on. We'll go. All right, we can continue the conversation about it. It doesn't matter to me, or we move on to another list.
I'll run mine.
All
right. Number 10, I have Devin Witherspoon, Seattle. Number 9, I have Christian Gonzalez, New England. Number 8, I have Taron Johnson from the Bills. 7, Brian Branch from Detroit. 6, Derek Stingley. 5, Trent McDuffie. 4, Deron Bland. 3, Jalen Johnson. 2, Patrick Surtain. And 1, Sauce Gardner.
I like it.
Y'all gonna hate my list. I only have 7.
That's fine.
I literally, my last 2, he said Devon Witherspoon, and I was like, oh yeah, he was a fucking baller this year. And
As a
then that
rookie.
made me, and it made me remember that Christian Gonzalez was a baller before he got hurt too. Like he was balling out in New England. So yeah, the only one I don't really know about a lot is Taron Johnson from the Bills. I don't know shit about that guy, but
Go ahead,
Is it my
Paul.
turn?
yeah.
All right. I have 8. I lied. I got 8. I'm going to go with Jarius Sneed, Pat Surtain, Sauce Gardner, and I don't care what anybody says, Tyreek Witherspoon was better than Jalen Johnson statistically wise last year. I just want to put that out there. Paulson Adebo, Trevarius Ward, Deron Bland, and then before Paulson Adebo, Devin Witherspoon, because that guy, he should have won rookie defense. Did he win? No, he didn't win rookie defensive player of the year.
No.
But he could have. He had a very legitimate shot.
Yeah,
My list,
I
that
think
list is terrible out of all of them.
Who's your number 1?
But Deron Bland definitely deserves to be number 3. But I would say, no, I have Deron Bland as number 1 because I'm like, the man just was.
you set a record for pick sixes.
He had
you
5
can
of
make-
them that returned for touchdown.
Yeah, you can definitely. I swear I thought he had 6, but you could definitely make a case 5 or 6.
And
You make a case
and
for
I think-
being the best
yeah.
quarterback in the league.
And I think he had 18 or 16 pass deflections. So I'm like, it
TDs,
wasn't
yeah.
like, so.
Nice. All right, Patrick.
Oh boy. All right. Number 10, Denzel Ward. Number 9, Stephon Gilmore. Number 8, Jalen Ramsey. 7, Charvarius Ward. 6, Jalen Johnson. 5, Trevon Diggs. 4, Jair Alexander. 3, Derek Stingley Jr., Deron Bland, and Sauce Gardner, number 1.
Sauce Gardner, number 1.
And like you said, injuries played a lot into this because 3 of these guys on here are all pros all day, every day. But
Absolutely.
they weren't all pros this year.
Nope.
And like I
Jair
said, these are-
Alexander. I have him at number 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Because, 5 because of that.
doesn't mean that they're the best player, but they could be.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I didn't have Bland at number 1 either, but I had Sauce Gardner at number 1 because he didn't play up to expectations this year either, though.
Here's the kicker. When you're that good,
You
you
should be
don't
good.
get the opportunity to stat grab. You're not going to get the ball's not thrown your way. You're not going to get the pass deflection.
Yeah.
When you're playing crappy
But-
quarterbacks who are afraid of you, they're not going to throw the ball in your direction.
Did
So does
anybody
that
else
hurt
think
you
6
or
through
make
10
you
could have
better,
been
though?
just about anybody?
yeah,
I mean,
6 through
6
10
through
were
10 could have been like a 20 different guys.
Yeah, absolutely. In this case, I think it absolutely brings to the conversation. We had Deron Bland high on the list for the most part. If three out of 4 have him higher up on the list, but arguably, you look at the situation where Dallas against good teams didn't do nothing. Deron Bland's name wasn't being called in those games. Deron Bland's name was being called in the shit quarterbacks and when teams are being forced to chuck the ball in that situation, the dude did with what he had. Well done. Right? But okay, let's see, like Pat says often, let's see you duplicate it next year. Because the 2022 stats weren't off the wall.
Yeah, no, I don't think he can. I don't think he'll be able to next year. It's
not with Diggs coming back.
6 interceptions. I'm thinking 6 interceptions would mirror the 9 interceptions.
Yeah,
6 interceptions.
You got to think about it too.
You're getting a whole caliber of teams,
and you're also getting a whole different defensive mindset coming in the building. You lost Dan Quinn.
Let's be honest. We can all agree the Dallas Cowboys had 4 straight bye weeks. It was more or less 4 straight damn bye weeks in the middle of the season with the teams that they played.
To go with what Mike said, you lost Dan Quinn, so you lost your defensive coordinator. That plays a factor whether people want to believe it or not.
Yeah.
You still have Gilmore, which nobody knows what you're going to do with that. He's back. So, of course, that's going to take away throws going hit to Bland's way. But at this time, now you have 2 corners that you're scared to throw to because they both can pick you off. So which poison are you going to go after more than the other?
I think if Dallas is smart, you leave, in my opinion, you leave Diggs and Gilmore on the outside and you put Deron in the slot and you have him play nickel corner.
But even if you do that, you still got 3 of the top defensive backs. Who are you throwing to least?
That's what I'm saying. You throw least?
In that scenario, I throw it to Bland because his tackles were sub 55. His tackles for loss was sub 4. And he has 0 sacks. So he's not a very physical guy.
He's a flashy playmaker, but he's not a substantive playmaker, meaning that
I utilize motion, get a tight end on him, chip him down the field 6-7 yards.
Yeah, you get because I don't think he has the skill set to play safety. So he's not going to be one of those guys downfield where you're like, all right, I need to watch him over.
I'm like, it makes sense. It makes sense.
So basically, later, Paul, we'll see you in a minute. But more or less, we may have just laid down a great defense for why I have him at number 8.
I mean, that's what's great about these lists is because are there better all-around corners than him in the league? Yes, I think Darius Slay is a much better overall corner than him.
But man,
Slay didn't perform
out this year.
Slay, exactly. I think there are corners that, if you look complete body of work, even Bradbury, who was cooked this year, you look at his 2022 versus Bland's 2022. I think Bradbury's a better corner, but you can't 5 interceptions for TDs. That's a crazy stat that.
That's pretty intense.
You can't look past skills to be able to do that. You have to return a interception for a touchdown. You have to be fucking.
But you got 5 of them things.
I don't think the bar. I don't think.
The bar is very high for him, though. I think, like Charles said, the bar is way up here for him.
6 interceptions, more 6. I think
it'll be interesting to see 6 interceptions. I'll take that.
Yeah,
6 interceptions out of it.
Like if that's the Vegas number, plus or minus 5.5. Plus or minus 5.5.
Anytime you can go as a cornerback, if you can go 2 seasons back to back with plus 5 interceptions, and that's just you, and that's not the whole team, you doing your fucking job.
I was to say, are we asking a lot even at 5.5? But after 9,
I don't think so.
Would we set the bar too low at 4?
Even with Diggs on the other side, I think that's for him. And if you, like I said, you keep Gilmore and Diggs on the outsides, and like you said, Mike, keep him in the slot. I'm like, I feel like you could still come away with at least 5 picks at the low end.
Nice. Yeah. All right, let's roll right into our cornerbacks list.
Safeties list?
Safeties. Yeah, that's exactly what I meant. Our safeties list. And snake this out. Patrick, go ahead.
We got safeties? Ooh,
yes,
boy.
Safeties.
It's about to get interesting.
All right, we got number 10, Budda Baker. Number 9, Kirby Joseph. 8, Harrison Smith. 7, Tyrann Mathieu. Micah Hyde at 6. Geno Stone at 5. Antoine Winfield Jr. Number 4, Kevin Bard. Number 3, Minkah Fitzpatrick. Number 2, and Derwin James. Number 1.
I like it. I like it.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, a lot of this, I wish I had more to say. I wish I did. But a lot of this is new to me. This is new to me. Digging into the cornerbacks like this.
Never looked at
into,
safety stats before, but this is the one that I looked at stats the most on.
Yeah, yeah. Digging into the safeties, even in digging into the individual tight end. It's been very exciting. I like the list. I'm excited to hear everybody's. Go ahead, Paul.
This one doesn't make sense either. 10, Budda Baker. 9, Tyrann Mathieu. 8, Micah Hyde. 7, Kevin Byard. I don't know how you say that, Mike. Byard. 6, Derwin James. 5, Justin Simmons. 4, Kyle Hamilton. 3, Jesse Bates. 2, Minkah Fitzpatrick. And then 1, I got Antonio Winfield.
I love that. I love that. I'll dig into that. I'll dig into Antonio here in a second.
I just want to say one stat. For Kyle Hamilton, he's the only safety on this list, the top 50 for tackles for losses. I just want to put that out there.
Yeah.
That man's a monster.
Yeah,
For
Kyle
being
Hamilton.
a young safety as he is.
Yeah. Not excited about that. Not excited about that. Not excited about that.
All right. So for me, I got number 10, Tyrann Mathieu. Number 9, Budda Baker. Number 8, Javon Holland from Miami. 7, believe it or not, there's a New York Giant, Xavier McKinney.
Yeah.
6, this is the only Eagles secondary player I put on here, Reed Blankenship. 5, Jesse Bates. 4, Jalen Thompson. 3, Jabril Peppers, 2, Antonio Winfield from Tampa Bay, and 1, Kyle Hamilton from Baltimore.
Yeah, I can't be upset about any of it. Okay, so I left some names off of my list. I did.
So did I.
And the reason for, even because I even went 15, 16, 17. I put 17 guys on this list, but I left names off due to injury and potentially age scenario. I may have made some shit up just so I didn't have to think about them because these lists were difficult, but here we go. So here we go. All right. Oh, God, where am I going with this? Reed Blankenship, 15 is what I'm thinking. No. Okay. I'm back to real life. Reed Blankenship's 14. I don't have 15. That's cool.
Okay.
You could throw Budda Baker in there at 15, Kyle Duggar if you wanted, maybe Justin Reed. Throw any of those names in there to morph them in at 15. So you got Xavier McKinney at 13, Harrison Smith at 12, and Talanoa Hufangua from San Francisco. Just because I knew I was going to butcher the name.
Charles. Well done.
All right, so coming in at number 10, Jesse Bates III from Atlanta. Cameron Bynum from Minnesota at number 9. Kyle Hamilton, Ravens, number 8. Justin Simmons, Denver, at 7. And Josh Metellus at 6.
Josh.
For Minnesota. His stats. I'm telling you.
Sucks.
I'm telling you. You got Kevin Bard, Titans, coming in at number 5. Minkah Fitzpatrick coming in at number 4. Jordan Poyer, Buffalo, coming in at number 3. Derwin Jones, LA Chargers, coming in at number 2. And number 1, Antonio Winfield Jr., Tampa Bay. I'm going to yell out his complete seasonal stats. Effing blew my mind. 76 solo tackles, 46 assists, 6 sacks, 12 pass deflections, 3 interceptions, 6 forced fumbles, 4 fumble returns, and 17 games played. That dude is a fucking dog. I'm glad he made it to number 1 on most everybody's list. I felt, looking at his stats, that dude was effing.
He was all over the place. He was good. And
The
for
only
his
thing
age, too.
The only thing I would change on anybody's list is Kevin Byard. Like, the problem is he did not play the way he was supposed to. Like, his tackling was shit this season.
Yeah.
Like, he missed a bunch of tackles. He dropped a bunch of picks. He had, I think, 8 or 9 PBUs in Philly. Now, granted, he joined in October. We didn't have a whole lot of time to get acclimated.
Because didn't he come from Tennessee?
Yeah, but even in Tennessee this year, he didn't have any picks. He didn't have any, like, his stats. Statistically, this year was a really bad year for Kevin Byard.
Does this run into the situation which I just found out via stat digging is that if
there aren't
they're
very many
that-
safeties that had sacks or interceptions this year, though.
Well, I
at all.
agree. I agree.
So,
but is this a scenario
top
where the
50
ball
even.
just wasn't thrown there?
To safeties? No, not really.
Right.
Safeties
I mean-
did not do very well. If you look at the sack leaders, the interception leaders, safeties are not up there in the top 50 on either one of them,
No, and even I felt like the tackles,
which is
list,
weird.
the
Aiden
overall-
Hutchinson had more interceptions than a bunch of safeties did. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Well,
Yeah.
there was
Crazy
the
stat.
top in the interceptions. There's 2 safeties in the top 3. You got Geno Stone and Jesse Bates, number 3 with 6 interceptions, and Geno Stone from Baltimore had 7.
Yeah.
And that's why Batesy made it onto the list at number 10. Actually,
Yeah.
was because of
And then
his
Tyrann
interceptions.
Matthews, the next one with 3. But other than that, it's
Who's
there's
still
a lot
the
more
young age
linebackers
of
up there.
31 and a half, by the way.
Young age of 31 and a half.
I'm like, for a safety, I
He's
guess
getting
you
up
could say
there.
that. That's why they probably put him back
he's
there.
he's pretty high on a lot of lists right now.
Yeah.
And he's still in the top 10. That's interesting. And now the most dynamic part of this list creation.
Controversial shit.
And it became controversial in a way because of the issue of labeling these players. And we've all been talking about it for the better part of 6-7 hours now, in between chat and on here.
Yeah.
When does it start? When does it stop? Why is the reasoning for it? Is it because does that run into paychecks? Because in the gambling world, it seems very cut and dry. This dude is a
Right.
middle linebacker. This dude is a D.
So here's my question.
Yeah.
Should the NFL, or even in college or whatever the case is, probably NFL more likely than any, like, you played this many snaps in this position, so we're going to label you as this position.
Yeah.
Should that be a scenario that they look into?
Well,
or is
think
that
there is-
overthinking it?
I think there is.
I know they offer pay scale.
I was going to say, because in order for you to be a wide receiver and not a tight end, you have to play at this position on the field at X amount of times more often than the other position.
I thought it was.
Because wasn't that the
where
issue
you
like
line
with Jimmy
up.
Graham back in? Because
Yeah.
Jimmy Graham had the same scenario with New Orleans. He was going for a contract extension or something like that.
He wanted
And
wide
trying to get
receiver
paid
money,
as a
and at the
receiver,
time, tight ends were paid.
But
like
he
shit.
lined up as tight majority of that season, so he had to get
Yeah.
the tight end money versus the receiver.
Most
money.
recently, I think you're thinking of the guy from the 49ers that they wouldn't want to pay him for being a running
That's
back and wide
Debo
receiver.
Samuel.
Debo.
Yeah.
Debo Samuel.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
the last one that
Yeah.
they didn't
Yeah,
want
so
to
they
pay.
So,
threw
like-
a buttload of incentives into his contract if he rushes
How do you
for
look
X
at
amount.
the defensive side? Because again, offense is a little bit easier to clear, cut, and dry how it is. But on defensive ends, especially linebackers, you can have them as a hybrid, and it's
Do you know
How
who
do you-
might break this barrier? I think his name. What's that? The wide receiver from Colorado, Hunter,
Travis Hunter.
Travis Hunter, the two-way player coming in. I mean,
No way
Quarterback.
any
He's a
NFL
better
team's going to
quarterback.
allow a player to play both ways because they will not give you no contract guaranteed money.
At some point,
No
he's going to have to
way.
pick one side before he
Oh,
goes
yeah.
pro. At some point,
Deion
he's going to have to
Sanders?
make a decision.
Deion
I'm like,
Sanders
Deion
didn't play
Sanders-
offense. He just punt return and kickoff return. He didn't freaking
He had
play
a couple
offense.
receiver moments, but
oh, for God's sakes.
prim-
He came in a couple
primarily, he
times
was-
in a game. A lot of players
But
did that. Come on.
primarily, he was a defensive back, and then he did kickoff and punt return, or he did punt return. Like I don't think
but
I've
in
ever
Hunter's
seen
case,
a
what does he
player
do?
do.
What do you think he's better? Do you think he's a better wide receiver
Cornerback.
or cornerback?
I think he should stay at corner.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the
All right.
biggest
like, there's
difference
no-
too is
Physically,
have-
he wouldn't hold up in the NFL as a wide receiver.
what you also have to remember too, like in the past, let's say 15 years, the linebacker position has completely changed because you went from guys like Ray Lewis and Brian Urlacher to guys like Fred Warner. Fred
Yeah.
Warner's 6 flat and like 210 pounds. Ray Lewis was like what 6'2" and 240.
a small.
But they're
brick
also
factory.
not asking Warner to run in there and freaking take a fullback on head on either, like they did back in the day.
And
Go
grab
take
the ball
an
at the
AJ
same time.
Dillon on full speed. No, he's
You
he's
also
hitting him
don't-
in the
yeah.
backfield.
You
Yeah,
also
but talking
don't
about-
have fullbacks like Mike Allstott running in the league anymore.
No.
So you don't
Allstott
need
would
giant
frickin'
ass.
plow people over. Just
Well,
a beast,
talk about
man.
middle
Dragon.
linebackers. We'll jump right into the middle linebacker list. And Snake has me going first. And of course,
Go for it.
starting with 15 through 11, Jeremiah Owusu Koromoa. I was so excited about that name, I forgot what team he played for. Maybe Cincinnati, I think. 14, Matt Milano, Buffalo. Injury had a lot to do with that. 5 games played. On Juwan Bentley from New England. Again, injuries had a lot to play with that. Man, I'm terrible with some of these names.
This
Tremaine
motherfucker can't even read his own handwriting.
No, I can't. Tremaine Edmonds, Chicago.
That's why I use my phone.
Tremaine Edmonds, Chicago. Number 12. Number 11, Dre Greenlaw, San Francisco. And now the reason for this, he played all
11?
season. He played all season, but he got that what's that, ACL, MCL injury in the Super Bowl or something like that.
Achilles.
Tore his calf, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Tore something huge, so
Tore his Achilles.
he's not gonna be playing much next year. Really, we're talking about San Francisco needing to make it
If
into
Aaron
the
Rodgers
playoffs.
can do it, anybody can do it.
Wait until you talk to the guy that we're going to talk to this afternoon about that. I think he's going to change your mind about if he's going to come back or not. They're doing some pretty fucking crazy things.
No, listen, it's not about if he's going to come back. It's more about when he's going to come back. We're looking at statistics here.
I don't
He's not
think he
gonna-
tore anything. I thought he strained or sprained it. His Achilles.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't think he
look
tore
at-
I'll look right now.
Yeah. So anywho, the only reason Greenlaw is there is because of injury. Otherwise, this dude's a top 5, and maybe top 7. Anywho,
Tore
coming
his
in-
Achilles off the bone.
tore his Achilles
Told
off
you.
the bone. Yeah. Yeah. So again,
That's-
injury had a lot to do with my placement on that guy. It has nothing to do with that dude. Has talent. He is very good. But anywho, coming in at number 10, C.J. Mosley. 9, Devon Campbell, Green Bay. 8, David Long Jr., Miami. 7, Eric Kendricks, L.A. Chargers. 6, T.J. Edwards, Chicago. 5, Bobby Wagner, Seattle. 4, Raquan Smith, Baltimore. 3, Levante David, Tampa Bay. 2, Demario Davis, New Orleans. And number 1, Fred Warner, San Francisco.
Since when was this inside linebackers? I thought we were doing linebackers.
It don't matter, dude. It really don't matter.
Then where the fuck was TJ Watt?
Probably counted as an edge rusher.
I probably have him as an edge rusher. There's one
Yeah,
more
but
list.
where the fuck did he play at Wisconsin? He's a goddamn linebacker his entire fucking career at Wisconsin. A line fucking backer. He ain't no goddamn edge player. That's
is
where I
now.
get pissed. No, I'm not yelling. I'm not mad at you. I'm just mad at the way that they dictate what the player is. What I get pissed off at.
Yeah, it's so
sorry,
stupid.
Charles. I wasn't
You're
yelling
fine,
at you.
dude.
I wasn't
You're
yelling
fine.
at you.
I was sitting here looking at. I'm like,
We're
dude,
clipping that shit.
Good. Stabbing.
All of us, every single one of the 4 of us is
man.
gonna have a moment where we're just pissed off as fuck and just
Listen,
all
this is-
flips the fuck out of it.
This is why I saved these lists for this part. That's fantastic.
It's the research that pissed me off, not what you guys decide where you
Yeah,
Oh,
decide.
absolutely.
It was the process. It was the process itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. These 2 lists took me 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
So
These 2 lists here took me 2.5 hours. So go ahead, Mike. Shoot off your list there.
the funny thing is, the linebackers and the edge rushers were the easiest 2 lists for me. The defensive
I'm so
backs, I
happy
was
for
like,
you.
I
I'm
was like,
so
what the
happy
fuck?
for you.
all right. So linebackers, number 10, I have T.J. Edwards, Chicago. Come back to Philly, please. We need you. Number 9, I have Frankie Louvu from Carolina. Number 8, Blake Cashman from Houston. Number 7, C.J. Mosley from the Jets. Number 6, this guy played a huge role in this in the run down the stretch. Leo Chenal for Kansas City. Azeez Al-Shaair for Tennessee is at number 5. Roquan Smith at 4. Bobby Wagner at 3. Quincy Williams at 2. And Fred Warner at 1.
Wee.
Wee.
So
I love it, man.
tried very hard to just keep it strictly just linebackers. Nothing that, no cross shit. No,
That's
none
what
of
I
that.
tried to do too. Yeah.
I tried
I
my
couldn't
hardest.
do it.
So
I couldn't do it
So just bear with me.
That's fine.
I-
Shoot it off. I like
bear
the
with
list,
me.
Mike.
So
I like the list. It's very different. I love it.
Yeah.
These are all going to be super unique.
I
Yeah,
love how
I don't think
different these
anything
are.
is going to match. There might be a few players here and there that like line
think
up
number
in every
1.
list.
Yeah. This is a
All right,
majority
Sal.
rule, motherfucker. O'Doyle rules. O'Doyle
O'Doyle
rules.
Yes, sir.
All right,
Yes,
okay.
sir.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna start from the bottom, of course. TJ Edwards is not in because I'm like, he's him for our tackling machine.
Yeah.
Bradley Chubb, Josh Allen, I feel like was very slept on this year. Bobby Wagner for his old ass at number 7.
Yeah.
7.
He's
You
got
it right.
94 tackles, dude.
7. Got it right.
Jay Mosley. I don't know how to say this last name, so bear with me. And it's gonna kill me to put him here just because where he plays at. Alex Anzalone from Detroit.
Anzalone.
Anzalone.
Yeah. That motherfucking white boy can play.
Yeah. Yeah.
Zaire Franklin, Indy. I can't ever say this man's name, but he was one of my defensive players on one of my fantasy football leagues. Fayu Said Alukum run from Jacksonville, number 23.
Yeah, sounds exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Listen,
There's
what you
no
later.
judgment for me. 100%. Well done.
Here's where I have my 1 and 2. Y'all can say whatever you want. I got Fred Warner at 2, and I think Roquan Smith is 1. Just
I'm not mad
I
about
just
that.
think he's just more of I just think he's just better.
I think he's more physical. I think Roquan Smith. I think Roquan plays the middle linebacker role that we all knew growing up.
The OG way.
Yep. I
He
think
and
that's
I
why it sits well with us, with people like us.
And I miss him.
He plays Baltimore, Chicago, Detroit, Green Bay, gritty ass linebacker
Like
where
he
knuckles
plays
are
that-
bloody
yeah.
and fucking
Yeah.
just that old school hand in the dirt. I'm gonna smash you
And-
as soon as you come up the
And
middle.
I think him is the best type of segue as far as from moving on from Ray Lewis for Baltimore to have somebody like him in that middle spot. Like he is a good replacement in that slot for Baltimore. And
Yeah.
he is literally.
Let's not discount Terrell Suggs before we.
No, I'm not. But Terrell Suggs also coming off the edge, so I get what there goes that linebacker defensive edge shit.
Yeah.
Like he primarily was lined up on the line on the edge, just like TJ Watt does. Either way, but I'm
Ray
just saying,
Lewis
as
may
far
have
as
looked
just
like
a
he was-
linebacker,
Yeah. Ray Lewis may have looked like he was coming off of the edge at times, but he was just fast.
He was in the middle of the field.
He just came. No matter what, he came. If you blinked, it looked like he came from the edge.
Did
but-
you guys
but he
ever
was from
see?
the middle.
Did you ever see the video of Chad Ochocinco talking about?
Yeah.
laid his own ass out.
Yeah.
How do you
I
lay
tried to
yourself
hit-
out? Trying to,
I tried to hit Ray and he knocked me out.
it didn't work. It didn't work.
All right, Pat, hit us with your list.
I might hit you with a lot of stuff here. My list is extremely
Balls.
unique because, like I said, I told you all about this before the stand. I got players bouncing back and forth between these last two. So
Which is important to, and I don't mean to cut you off, but that's important that you looked at the scenario and realized that this player, while playing out of quote unquote position, was better than others who are attempting to play the position. So I don't think
Correct.
there's
There
any
are-
issue.
there are people that are better, obviously going to be better and higher up on different lists. So this is where it gets really interesting.
I
Number
love it.
10, Bradley Chubb. Number 9, Travon Walker from Jacksonville. If you did not look at this guy's stats, look at his stats. I believe he was like in the top 5 in sacks.
I'll pull it up
this
real
year.
quick from faithfulstatmuse.com.
Number 8, I got Micah Parsons in there because there was one stat that I looked at that he actually led the league in double teams and beat double teams. He beat double teams. So Micah Parsons at 8, Dre Greenlaw at 7, like Charles said. Mike said this dude might not be coming back until the middle of the season, but he's still a top 10
Had a killer year.
linebacker. Hassan Reddick, number 6, and like I said, this is where the grayest of gray areas comes in. Linebacker, edge. Same thing with Fred Warner at 5. Patrick Queen, though, if he doesn't leave Baltimore, is a top 5 linebacker in the
I
NFL.
almost had him
Roquan
in my top
Smith,
5.
number 3. Josh Allen, number 2, and I have TJ Watt, the hybrid, number 1.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I like that.
This is the thing is
It
like
does change.
the names that we're all saying, like none of them are scrubs. So
They're
throwing them on
interchangeable.
throwing them on a top 10 list, linebacker or edge, makes complete sense. Because if you look at TJ Watt, monster off the edge, but he can
Right.
cover and he can play in the middle and he can smack the shit out of a running
He's
back. He's not
interchangeable.
just a pass rusher.
And to further this point also, let's say, have we done wide receivers yet?
We did them last time. Yep.
We did him last-
Okay. So let's say during our wide receiver, it was slot wide receivers 1 and wide receivers 2. That is
That changes
that's basically what we're doing for the defense right now.
Yeah.
It changes everything. So
Yeah,
to
because
get
it
our
looked-
personal opinion on players where we see
Right.
them play more often than not is what you're getting with these lists. So I like that. I absolutely
absolutely.
love
You
that.
ain't gotta like it, but you gotta listen.
Absolutely. All right, let's roll right in. Let's roll right into our final list. Edge rushers or defensive ends or however we want to say this or however you looked at it. Trevon Walker had 10 sacks last season. Crazy. Last 2 seasons, 51 solo tackles, 50 assists, 13 and a half sacks, 1 fumble recovery, and an interception. He's doing well.
We're doing the snake again, so it's to be Pat's turn, right?
Yep, Pat's turn.
This is where I got completely befuddled. Befuddled. That's a word, right? Sure, it's a word.
It's a
Definitely.
college word.
It's
It is
definitely
today.
a word.
Sure.
Befuddled is one of my most favorite words, along with indubitably.
Sure. I use
like
big
it.
boy words. Wear big boy pants. I don't piss my
I love
pants.
indubitably.
I poop my own pants.
I wipe
out
my own
when I
ass.
wipe
my
own ass. I wipe my own ass.
I'm
All right,
Scuba
number
Steve's
10.
dad, Scuba Sam.
Number 10, the only Carolina Panther that I got on the list, Brian Burns. Number 9, Alex Highsmith. I believe he plays for Pittsburgh. I don't have any teams. Daniel Hunter at number 8. I believe he was a Minnesota Viking. Micah Parsons again on the list at number 7. Number 6 come in at, I have him really low, but he should be much higher, but maybe next season. Aiden Hutchinson, number 6. TJ Watt, number 5. Nick Bosa, number 4. Myles Garrett, 3. A big surprise because Myles Garrett was my number 1 for a long time,
Yeah.
but actually Myles Garrett was 3. Trey Hendrickson from Cincinnati was my
Yeah.
number 2. That dude was unblockable all
Yeah.
season long for Cincinnati.
Yeah.
And number 1, the biggest surprise of all, when I looked at his stats in his defensive reliability rating was a 97.1. The next closest, a 92. Max Crosby.
Yeah.
Max Crosby had a defensive beat rating against any offensive lineman that he played this year. He won off the snap 97% of the time.
Max
That's what that
Crosby's a
means.
dog.
That's
If
crazy.
anybody's upset that you have Max Crosby at number 1, they don't watch football enough.
I think with the hype is just there. Maybe just the
Yeah.
hype for me is
Well,
there. He could be the best.
He's a Raider. And
He is a
he's
Raider.
what-
That's
yeah,
one of his
yeah.
one of his downfalls too. He's with the Raiders.
Absolutely. But the
Even
thing is,
wow.
he's what allowed Khalil Mack to leave.
Here's the other thing. We all had we did our wide receivers, correct? I think
Yeah.
I was the only one that had Devontae Adams in like the top 5.
Yeah,
The
I had
rest
him at
of you,
10.
the rest of you all said he needs to get his ass out of freaking
Yeah.
LA or
I
I didn't
Vegas.
have him in my top
Yeah.
10. For
He's a number
That's-
1
that's-
wide receiver if
That
he
speaks
plays.
volumes to what he is because he used to be the guy. When he was in
Right.
Green Bay, he was a top 5 receiver.
And
but-
this isn't the Jordy Nelson effect.
No,
this is
he's-
just
he's
literally
always
he
been a
doesn't
good
have
receiver.
anybody throwing him the ball.
He might
Well,
have
it's
Jay
not just-
Charles. He might have Jay. Or the Bears
Hey.
are picking up Jay, I hear.
Yeah,
There's a lot of smoke that people need to put these fires out with. It's getting ridiculous.
Yeah, because it
With
sounds like
first
the
pick-
Falcons.
with the first pick of the
It
NFL
does.
draft, the Bears pick J.J. McCarthy.
What are you all doing on draft night? Because I feel like we need to do our draft again live again so that we can
Absolutely.
see Paul's reaction to the number 1 pick.
I'm
All
down
right,
to
Paul.
do a draft. I'm down to do a draft watch
All
along
right,
party.
all right, let's do a draft watch party.
I-
I'll do it
I
on
will
YouTube.
make sure to leave that day off the books and open,
Yeah.
so you guys.
I'm
can see
sure
the
that day is gonna
frustration in
be-
my face.
Plenty open for you.
All right, hit us with your list, Paul.
I hate you, Patrick, twice today. All right, my list starts with Montez Sweats because coming over from Washington, he balled out for us, and I feel like it's just gonna be up from there. Number 9, I got Hassan Reddick. Number 8, I got Aiden Hutchinson. 7, I got Nick Bosa with his bitch ass. That was for you, Mike.
7.
And 6, I got Khalil Mack because I'm like, he doesn't look like he's slowing down. It's just everybody above him is just moving faster. Number 5, I got Micah Parsons. Number 4, I got Myles Garrett. 3, I agree with you, Pat. Trey Hendrickson he's just on another level by himself over there in Cincinnati, and it's just unreal what he's doing. Number 2, I got TJ Watt, and number 1, realistically, could have probably been Defensive Player of the Year, Max Crosby. The man Max Crosby is just different. And if he's on the Raiders and actually on an actual contending team, maybe he could have won Defensive Player of the Year. I don't know if that's just because he was on a losing team, put a hinder in him winning it, because Myles Garrett was on an actual playoff team and the defense was lights out, versus the Raiders, it was just Max Crosby on defense. So I'm like, that kind of probably took the shine away from him. But the man clearly could have been Defensive Player of the Year last year without even second guessing. If you look at the stats, like, the man literally was everywhere. Like, he may not have had as many sacks. He only had 14 and a half sacks, but he had more tackle for losses than anybody else coming off the edge, period. So I'm like, he may not be getting to the quarterback, but he's getting to the running backs, and they're not going anywhere. You know what I'm saying? That still counts.
If you didn't hear Max's name in a 3-down defensive set, it's because the quarterback threw an interception on the first play.
You know what his nickname is?
What?
The Condor.
That's nuts. All right, Mr. Chaos. I like the list, Paul. I do. I love hearing your guys' list. They're so different.
It's super unique. Super unique.
Yeah.
I
love it. All right.
Number 10, I have Josh Allen from Jacksonville. Number 9, I have Josh Sweat from Philly. Number 8, Aiden Hutchinson. Number 7, Khalil Mack. Number 6, Hassan Reddick. Number 5, TJ Watt. Number 4, Micah Parsons. Number 3, Max Crosby. Number 2, Myles Garrett. Number 1, Nick Bosa.
I like it.
That is interesting.
I hate Nick Bosa, but
I like how
the fact that you got TJ at 5. Didn't see that coming.
The one thing I've really appreciated about your list so far, Mike, is especially I'm sure at this point we could call it this, after the NF incident. I thought for sure, I thought for sure, and these lists have been very thought out, very analytical, and they've been fantastic to listen to.
That's why I like him. He's still very 10 toes down for Philly, and I'm never going to hold that against you. Right. However, at the end of the day, still a fan of the game, and you're not about to bullshit the game itself. That's why I like doing this shit with you.
Because you see these guys who are ultra fandoms and who only do like a Philadelphia Eagles podcast or a Bears podcast, and that's what it is. That's what it's geared to. Everybody knows from the No Finish episode, from our show, from even before. Like, I am a diehard Eagles fan, but Jalen Hurts wasn't the best quarterback last year. Like, you have to be able to. Part of fandom for me, especially I think since I've started going to sports casting school and kind of learning more about stats and gathering, is you have to learn. When lists like this come out, it's cool to be a fan, but you don't want to be that delusional fan who was like, oh, Hassan Reddick with his 11 sacks was the best defensive end of the league. Come on, dude. Statistically, he's great. 4 years in a row with 10+ sacks is unheard of. It's insane. But his performance from 16.5 to 11 over a year takes a little bit of time. So I think with me, I will ride or die that I think Nick Foles is a better quarterback than Brock Purdy. But what I won't do is come out here and say, oh, I hate Nick Bosa, so he doesn't deserve to get any kind of flowers. That's retarded.
But I liked the list.
That's why I love you, man.
I'm going to save my 15 for the end. I think my 15 is the most controversial pick out of all of these. But 14 through 11. 14, Jonathan Cooper, Denver. 13, Matthew Judon, New England. 12, Alex Highsmith, Pittsburgh. 11, Khalil Mack. I expected a lot more from Judon, but that injury early on in the season really took him out of place. Yeah. He's in the honorable mention to see what he does next year. Number 10, Hassan Reddick. Number 9, Josh Allen. Number 8, Adrian Hutchinson. Number 7, Montez Sweat. Like, Paul, I do agree. I hate to say it out loud, and because I'm a Packer fan, he couldn't go any higher than 7. That's the
Wait,
law.
you're not a Lions fan?
So here's this 6 through 1. Because of where I decided to put these players, the position became the absolute most difficult fucking headache. And coming in at number 6 is Max Crosby.
Oh, Father.
Coming in at number 6 is Max Crosby. Coming in at number 5, Nick Bosa. Coming in at number 4, because of injury. The dude needs to stay healthy. He's young enough. He's going to be great. You got to stay healthy. TJ Watt. Coming in at number 4, TJ Watt. Coming in at number 3, Micah Parsons. Only because he's somebody you think about on Tuesday. If you're somebody you think about on Tuesday, you deserve to be positioned on the list as such.
Yeah.
Coming in at number 2, Myles Garrett. And my number 1, although I'm saying the number 15 is going to be funny, the number 1 is a name that Danielle Hunter. Minnesota Viking.
Charles, I have a question for you. Where was he against the good teams?
Listen,
if you want to play this game against the Dallas,
his stats while I was looking into this, his stats were ridiculous.
Not versus good teams, because the Packers whooped his ass. And the
He's
Packers, you want to call the
Green Bay
Packers
thinks
an elite
about
team?
Green Bay thinks about Hunter on Tuesday.
There you go. Then
All
that
right.
means he shouldn't be number 1. I want to hear your number. You better have
Let's
a
hear
good
this 15.
justification for number 15. So you better have some stats.
2024 Rookie of the Year. That's my
Will
number 15.
Anderson?
2024 Rookie of the Year. No, it's that whoever gets drafted in this draft in 2024, it's going to be Defensive Rookie of the Year. He's going to make it on my list. He's going to be the number 15. I don't know who it is yet, but on my list, 2024 Rookie.
I think.
You know how dumb you sound right now?
I'm telling you. I'm
Playing
feeling
lottery
something
with his emotions
hot
here.
from this combine. I'm feeling something hot from this combine.
Defensively, I don't know if I'm feeling anything too hot about the NFL draft.
There's one player on the D line that I feel fantastic about. There's an edge guy. There's 2 edge guys I feel really good about. Where I really feel strong this year is the cornerback class for the draft. The corners this year in the draft are insane. Most of the top 10 corners are running 4.4s, 4.5s, 4.6s. Like
It's them safeties where it gets.
Listen, Forrest
iffy.
Gump didn't have a long career in football. So speed will get you there. Talent will
Alabama.
keep you in it. All right,
Tag.
talent will keep you in it. That's all.
We know all about this because we had Kevin King, and Kevin King's done nothing but.
Yeah. Denard
Yeah.
Robinson, shoelaces. That dude was quick. That's what I'm saying. Speed gets you in the NFL. It does. That's Tyreek Hill can laugh all you want. You got to be able to catch the ball when you're running that fast.
Yeah,
you
that's
got to be able to.
That's why Travis Hunter needs to go to the cornerback side.
Catch-up speed is nice, but if you're utilizing catch-up speed, it's because you're getting beat on the brakes. If you're getting beat on the brakes, you're not going to be playing football very long on national television.
I have a question.
What?
Yeah.
This is a random question that I want to ask you. You beautiful little humans. I heard this today, and I was like, ooh, this is going to start so shit. All right. I'm going to ask y'all 2 questions, and each of y'all answer it. What's your favorite NFL team? Clearly, but stay for the record.
Stay
Bay
for the
Packers.
record, Charles Sayers, Green Bay Packers.
Philadelphia Eagles.
Patrick.
Green
Patrick?
Bay Packers.
All right. What is the one NFL team you hate the most?
Dallas Cowboys.
San Francisco 49ers.
Charles?
The Detroit Lions.
All right. So here's the scenario. You could play for your favorite NFL team, right? You
Yeah.
win all the individual accolades you could get over your 20-year career, but never get a championship. Or play for the team that you hate more than anything and win all the championships in the world. However, all those championships are going to be won against your favorite team.
No, I retire.
Where are you going?
I retire with
I
my
win.
team that I love.
Only because it's the Detroit Lions, I would win the championships because they would be mine.
But you're
You
playing
only
against
got
Green
them
Bay
because
every time.
you only got them because
only
of
way
me.
you got them is you beat Green Bay to get to the championships.
Yeah,
You're
if
never gonna.
if they have to be
While
beat,
you're
dude.
playing, Green Bay never wins one.
Yeah, that's
I
fine.
would go down as the greatest Eagle in history to never win a title because bro, you could not pay me enough to put on that shitty red and gold uniform.
Yeah.
So Pat
You couldn't
says
pay me
he's
enough to
retiring
play
a
for
Green Bay
Jerry
Packer fan.
Jones. You couldn't pay me
So-
enough to play for Jerry
So
Jones.
Pat is retiring a Green Bay Packer with the most accolades known to mankind. Charles is going to be a Detroit Lions legend for the rest of his life.
Wait till
at the
Brent hears
accounts-
this one, Charles. He's gonna.
I'm
he's
just
gonna-
saying. I'm just saying. After my
at the
career,
expense of his Green Packers.
He will
after
never
my-
be
and
allowed
Mr.
in Green Bay because he's the Green Bay killer. Green Bay killer, Charles.
And Mike will never, ever, on God's green earth, wear gold and red. And he will go down as Philly's most.
I'd go on every
favorite
podcast
Eagles.
and radio
All
show
right,
afterwards
Mike.
wearing Green Bay Packer uniforms.
Mike, tell him. Paul has to. All right, Paul, it's your turn because we get to roast you
My
now.
turn? All right. So clearly, I am a Chicago Bears fan, so that's my favorite NFL team.
It's okay to say it.
And in my
It's
the
okay to
team I
say.
hate the most is Green Bay Packers, and
I
I will
almost
never
said
win
the
a
Bears.
championship for all my life. I will go down as the most favorite NFL Chicago Bears player ever known to mankind because there's no way on this fucking earth will you catch me wearing that shit on my back.
Let's be honest. You only have to throw for 3,000 yards once. That's your.
Listen, I'll be the punter for all I care. I'm not
Hey,
putting on that
bro,
shit.
don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted.
I'll throw for 299 the whole time. Don't care,
Bro, Jake Elliott is set for life in Philly. Won us the Super Bowl,
Yeah.
kicking his ass off. I'll be the kicker.
Robbie
I'll
Gold
be the
who?
world's greatest kicker.
Robbie Gold, who? I'm gonna outkick the shit out of his records.
Alrighty. Listen, this was everything I would dreamed it is. So now's the time that we decide what we're doing next Sunday. Which I don't. Is there much more to do? What's left?
We talked about this earlier. We're talking about special teams, Charles, and coaches. Let's
Yeah.
do special teams, like kickers, punters, coaches. Let's just do kickers, punters, and coaches. I think that'd be fair
Okay.
enough.
Okay, so do we do?
Fair and irritating.
Yeah, do we do? Because kickers and punters, for the most part, are the same person. Oh no, they're not.
No,
How are
they're
they
not.
the same person?
No, they're not. Doesn't Kansas City's? Doesn't Butler kick
No.
field
Some
goals and
some
Buckner?
punts?
You mean Buckner?
some
Buckner, yeah.
teams will
Buckner.
double use their kickers, but for the most part, you've got a
Yeah,
separate
they got
punter,
two
separate
All
kicker.
right, because when it comes to coaches, we'll run into offense. Are we just doing head coaches? Or
We're
we
just gonna
doing
let's
head
just
Just
do
do
head
head
coaches.
coaches.
All right, well,
Yep.
just do head coaches. Yeah, because I think the cliffhanger we can leave this on. Thank you guys so much again for coming on and taking the time. These are crazy ass lists, and we'll do a roundup list at the end where we'll just blow through offense and defense.
Oh, let's do a wild card. Let's do a wild card. Each one of us gets to pick let's pick our best backup quarterback in the NFL. It doesn't have to be because he's
Oh.
good, just because we like him. Let's pick our
Okay.
favorite backup quarterback. That'll be our
Okay.
that'll be our
One?
fourth one. Just one.
Just
one.
okay.
One
Okay.
backup
So
quarterback.
we've got kickers,
Just one.
punters, head coaches.
Charles is gonna have
and then-
15, but we need one. From you.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Charles
no.
off every
To
one of
keep the tradition alive, I'll come to the table with 5. All right,
five
I'll
is-
come to the
five is
table
fair,
with
five is
5.
fair.
Yeah, I'll come to the table.
Still,
if anybody else
there's
comes
always
with
gonna
5,
be
don't
more
think I
than
won't
one.
have 10. I don't think I don't have 6 through 10. on
Oh,
standby.
I almost know you're gonna have 15 on
He's
deck.
got the little
just in case.
scratch pad that's
I'm
got
telling
20
you
other
right now.
names on it.
If anybody came to the table with 15, I had 20 ready. All right, that's all I'm
Listen,
telling
if you
you.
can come to the table with 15 backup QBs, you deserve an award.
Done.
Don't do
Why are
that.
you
Done.
tempting
And
me?
you're gonna
Always
put that
do
damn
shit.
reward right here next to one of these bad boys right here. All right.
Somehow Brock Osweiler's name is gonna come up. and
You don't
fucking-
think I won't have Trey Lance on that
Yo.
motherfucker? You don't think I won't have Trey Lance, the best goddamn backup in the game?
I
Chase
mean,
Daniels is the best
if we
backup
talk about
quarterback.
just
The
last
farm.
year, we
Honestly,
gotta
Joe
talk about
Flacco.
Gardner.
If Joe Flacco is at number 1, I don't know who you're talking to.
That's the thing. It doesn't have to be best. It's just your favorite. It's your favorite
got
backup
mine.
quarterback. He doesn't even have to play. This dude could be throwing ping pong balls at the fans. I don't care. I think it's gonna be
Shit.
more entertaining when you just choose who you
Technically,
like.
Aaron Rodgers was a backup QB last year.
Technically, Aaron Rodgers was a backup quarterback last season. So this
Uncle
is 2024
Rico.
though. So
Somebody call Uncle Rico. He's my favorite.
you can do whatever you want. If he played in the NFL or if he's available, hell, if he's a free agent, he's available.
Is Pat
with
McAfee
that.
everybody's favorite kicker of all time?
No.
He's my
Not even
favorite
close.
punter.
Favorite
Or
punter?
punter, yeah, punter. Sorry.
Punter maybe just because of his
Uh,
personality, but kicker no.
I
Tackle
did
him.
Morstead. I loved Morstead for some reason. Was he for New Orleans or whatever? Was it? No,
Yeah,
that wasn't Morstead.
I think he played a big portion there.
Yeah,
All right.
I do the guy with the 3-foot long mullet that kicks for Kansas City though. His hair got in the way that he almost fumbled that ball in the fucking Super Bowl because he put his hand back like this and he caught his hair. That was pretty good.
Fucking ponytails are made for a reason.
Yeah, killed her.
Alrighty, well, thank you
Alrighty,
guys
gents.
so much for everything. And as always, you can find our merchandise and anything and everything you would like at Boys in the Wood Shop 90 or Boys in the Woods 906.shop. That's Boys in the Woods 906.shop. You can find these gentlemen on.
You can find us on Twitter. You can find us on Instagram and TikTok are our main 3 social media platforms. All just look up the Heat Check Podcast or Real Heat Check Podcast or Your Heat Check Podcast. YouTube is youtube.com/at the Heat Check Podcast. We just passed 6,000 subscribers on the YouTube channel, so we want to
We're
say
about to hit 2 million views.
we're about to hit 2 million
About to-
views.
Oh, child. Congratulations,
So,
gentlemen.
You guys
That's
are blowing us up on YouTube, and we appreciate the shit out of it.
Hey, listen, good people do good things
It's all about
for good
7.
people. And that's where you guys sit.
7,000. 7,000.
Se-
7. This
seven.
is gonna get you 7,000.
I think what's Duran Bland at 8 was fantastic. Listen, thank you guys so much for clicking, liking, subscribing, commenting, and the world's a better place with you in it. Smile more
Absolutely.
because of that.